Good afternoon, evening, morning, noon, midnight, wherever you are and watching my videos. Welcome back to another episode here from the Off-Grid Garage. A couple of hours ago, I posted a quick comment in my community tab on my YouTube channel here, and I have already 41 responses to that. Because I'm not sure what is going on with this BMS here, and I've asked some questions and explained as good as I can what is actually going on. So thank you very much for commenting, everyone, on this post. So this video here, I want to show exactly what is happening. I'm trying to get everything into one shot and to show you exactly what is happening, what the weird thing with this BMS is, what is going on here. Okay, let me get this all set up here, and then we talk again. So you can see the mobile phone here on the right hand side, but I will do a screen recording as well, which is coming on the screen right now, so you can see all the numbers and figures better. We've got the power supply up here, 57.6 volts it is set to, which is exactly 3.6 volts per cell, if everything would be 100% balanced. You can see here on the right hand side in the balancer, we have a deviation of 2 millivolt across the pack. The voltage here, 57.05, is confirmed with the Unity multimeter. I've confirmed all the voltages multiple times. With this multimeter, with the other one I have, this is all legit, this is all confirmed and accurate. Plus minus 10 millivolt, I would say. So I came across this problem because I have charged the battery with this power supply. And I could see the amps, the current is tapering off here almost to zero, but I have not reached the voltage here in the BMS. See, the BMS voltage shows only 57.05 volts. There are around 500 millivolt missing between the power supply and the BMS. And this is exactly the 500 millivolts you can see here. This multimeter measures the voltage drop across the BMS between P- and B-. The negative probe of the multimeter is connected to B-. This is the most negative terminal of the battery and the most negative point in our system. You can see we've got a negative 0.5 volts on here. And this is what I suspect is happening. The BMS is obviously creating an internal power across P- and B-, which has the opposite polarity than the voltage from the power supply. Usually your B- should be more negative than P- because of the voltage drop across your BMS. But we are measuring a negative voltage. So this is the exact reverse polarity. So, and you can see here from the battery cell voltages, from the individual cell voltages, all cells are at 3.566 volts, plus minus 1 millivolt now. They should be in theory at 3.6 volts, and we have set 57.6 volts here on the power supply. But the negative voltage of the BMS is pushing against that. And that's why the BMS measures only 57.06 volts. So the first test I want to make, I want to turn off the charge current here. So I go into my BMS and turn off the charger. I turn off the balancer as well and the charger as well. You can see the amps are going down to zero straight away, so there's no current flowing anymore, but we are still measuring the 0.5 volts across the BMS. 0.5 volts. We've got a battery voltage of 57.05 volts at the moment, right? And the charger is sitting on 57.6 volts. So we've got a difference of roughly 540 millivolt, as the Unity shows below here. If I lower the voltage now on the power supply to 57 volts, going down 0.6 volts, look at the difference here. Look at this. If I go a little bit further down, and if I go further down, Look what happened now. We now have a positive voltage here on the unit-T showing 0.4 volts at 56.66 of the power supply. So again, this shows the difference between the power supply and the battery in real time, but now with a positive number. So if I go exactly to 57.04, so the closer I come to the real battery voltage, the less this voltmeter shows. If I go really high, say to 61 volts, we have minus 4.29 volt across the BMS. So it shows us the battery voltage is 4.29 volt lower than the charger voltage. Okay, so this is test number 1, so you can see what is actually happening in the dynamic of this setup. Okay, so now we've got our 57.6 volts again. There you go, 57.6 volts again. And the unit-T shows us again 0.55 volt difference between the battery and the power supply. Okay, let's turn on the charger again. And we will see a small current flowing. We have only 55 milliamps flowing into the battery now from the power supply. Even we have a 0.6 volt difference between the power source and the battery. There should be far more current flowing, but no, it's not. All right, I'm increasing the voltage now, which will increase the amps as well. 780, and now we have 600 millivolt difference between the battery and the charger. It shows us here, negative. I keep increasing. You can see the current going up, 1 amp, 1.2. Watch this one now. 1.3, 1.4. Bang! Did you see that? All of a sudden, the MOSFET switched on and the current jumped from 1.5 amps to 5 amps straight away. Straight away to 5 amps. And you could see the voltage drop on the BMS here jumping from 800 millivolt to only 2 millivolt. As if the MOSFETs are just switching on. And now obviously the current is tapering off because we are reaching the set voltage. 58.05 volts. And here you can see again what happens now. Look at the battery voltage and look at the power supply voltage. And what we have here. Millivolt, minus 220 millivolt. MOSFETs have switched off again, no current is flowing, and the unit-T shows us the voltage difference again across the BMS. But we have not reached the 58 volt set by the power supply. It is short by this amount. I increase the voltage. Current is coming until 1.3, 1.4 amps, 1.5, a little bit higher. Bang, again. See the jump? This is the normal turn on millivolt voltage drop we should measure across the MOSFETs now. But it looks like they need a certain pressure of voltage first to actually turn on. We've got 58.6 and 58.2 in the battery only. Again, 0.4 volt is missing. That's the difference. So whatever voltage I would set in my solar charge controller here, we will never reach this voltage in the battery. We are always short on this voltage for some reason. I have never seen this in any other BMS. Okay guys, so far the demonstration from tonight. Yeah guys, I don't know what to think about this. The really suspicious part is the negative voltage here. This is our B-. This should be the most negative part. But this is where I measure the voltage across. We should have a more positive potential over here than on this side. This should be more negative. But the multimeter shows us the other way around. So I'm not sure what to make out of that. I know there are two different paths inside the BMS. One is for the charging and one is for the discharging. And they can be switched individually by the MOSFETs. Anyway, guys, my personal opinion is the BMS is faulty. This should not happen at all. the voltage of the power supply should be exactly the same voltage as the battery. Once the current goes down to 0, it should be 100% the same. 100%. There's no current, there's no voltage drop. Nothing. But we still have between 400 to 600 millivolt difference, even without current, but negative. Alright guys, I'm very keen to read all your comments now, all your theories, all your suspicions, all your speculations. It will be very interesting and it will take a while to solve this issue here. I still think it's faulty, but we need to find out why. This is just finding out why this is showing a negative voltage across the BMS. It is not about making a choice which BMS is working better than another one. This is just finding out why this is showing a negative voltage across the BMS. Okay, this is all the instructions I give you. I'll leave this all with you guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support, especially your generous donations here. And thank you for everyone who is leaving a comment, of course. Until the next video, guys, stay charged and safe. And thank you again for watching. See you then. Bye-bye. What? Guys, wait. Before you go, thank you again for all your comments on my community post here. Yeah, thank you so much for 63 comments now, especially the one from Yuthi. Well, anyway, he says, I think I know what it is. When testing charging without active discharge, the discharge MOSFET is not active and it will work as a diode for the charge as well. And we will need to provide a higher input voltage that will be around 0.6 volt difference voltage drop over the P- to B-. So I would say it works as expected. And I was just inside reading this comment and said, well, I have the discharge MOSFETs turned off in the BMS. Because I played around with the settings and they were off because we don't have any load connected currently to this battery. It was just off. I said, could he be right? So I just went back to the garage, set everything up again as it was, and let's test it. We've got our multimeter here measuring the voltage drop across the BMS between B- and P-, millivolt at the moment. And I'm going to increase the voltage now a little bit and see if we can get a charge over here into the battery. Now, the only thing we can see is here that the voltage increases again with a negative number. So we are now about 200 millivolt over the battery voltage with our power supply. I keep increasing the voltage. And now we can see 4-6 milliamps flowing into the battery. It is still the same weird behavior, right? Okay, I'll just go down with the voltage to roughly a little bit above the battery voltage. Probably like this. This is roughly 200 millivolt above our battery voltage now. So, okay, let's test out what Yuthi said. We go into our control and we can still see we have the discharge off, because why would it be turned on if we don't use it? We've got nothing to discharge here. It is only a charger at the moment, right? Okay, let's turn on discharge. We can immediately see we've got a charge current and we've got 1 millivolt, roughly, even lower than 1 millivolt of a voltage drop across the BMS now. Okay, so we are just underneath the battery voltage now, and we've got 0 millivolt. Look at this, 0 millivolt across the BMS. Let's turn off discharging and watch the voltage here. And immediately we can see a voltage drop across B-, P- on the BMS, even without any current flowing. I enable discharging again, and it goes to 0. Holy smackamoly. He is right. So with the discharge enabled now, so both MOSFETs are enabled, Ah, look at this. And we can see very little current flowing here, which we couldn't see before. And I can now continuously... Okay, we're going into... I need to turn up the amps here. Full blast. And let's see how far we can go. Ah, look at this. There's no jump anymore like before. 5 amps. Look at this. It is working. I can't believe it. It was the discharge option turned off. That's why the BMS behaved so strangely. So weird. Discharge off. And then again, we can see the minus 400, 500 millivolt here. 600 millivolt. And then it breaks. Did you see that? It goes to 1.7 amps and then it breaks basically. 0.63 and then it breaks. And then we've got normal 6 millivolt voltage drop. I'll turn on the discharge. And then we can continuously... That was it. That is insane, right? Okay, so Jute. No, it is actually Johan from Sweden. He has sent me an email as well. He explained everything in his email as well. So basically so how I understand it is we have got 2 rows of MOSFET transistors in here. One is for charging, one is for discharging. No, it's the other way around. Doesn't matter. So they are wired the other way around, basically. If one is conductive, the other one is not conductive, unless it is turned on in the app. If it's not conductive, it is like a PN junction, and we will have the 0.6 volt across this PN junction. And that's why we need to have the power supply 0.6 volt higher, roughly, than the battery voltage to see a charge. If the voltage difference is small, so if you reach your absorption voltage, for example, and the voltage of your battery and charge controller is very close together, you can get into this trouble. But only if discharge is disabled. Under normal conditions, you have both switches on, of course. In your app, you have both switches turned on, charge and discharge. It is very, very unlikely that one of the switches is turned off manually. This is only for testing purposes. So I will use this quite often, actually. Or if you do maintenance or something, or for any particular reason you want to disable charging or discharging with your BMS from your battery. So many of you have stated something about a diode or a PN junction, a MOSFET, some sort of this, but Johan was the only person, or well, at least he was the first one to explain it. And he also sent me this email. So thank you very much, Johan, for your help again here on the channel and making this clear and helping us out solving this mystery with the BMS and the negative voltage we could measure between B- and P-. This is all now solved. The battery, the BMS is not broken. It is not a software glitch. It is not faulty. It is 100% working. It is just, you need to know that. So now you know. Thanks to Johan. All credit goes to him, of course, and everyone else who has commented on this community post. I know a lot of people may be freaking out now totally because I know a lot of people have freaked out now because they have ordered this BMS already, and now I have discovered this flaw with this negative voltage, and I said, what a shit, I just paid $250 here for this shitty BMS here, and it doesn't work now. Because you were very quick in ordering, right? Well, we are still in the test phase here. We are still testing this BMS and finding out if it works, but it looks like it's working perfectly fine. You know what? I'm relieved. I'm relieved the BMS is not faulty. I'm relieved the BMS is working as designed. I'm so relieved you guys found out. Thank you so much for all your comments, guys. Thanks for all your support here on the channel. You are amazing. We keep going here. Lots more to test and explore and measure and show you on the channel. Thank you so much, guys. And until the next video, stay charged, stay safe, and thank you so much for watching again. See you then. Bye-bye. Thanks, Johan.